Mr. Boy. What's going on? Hey. We're doing good. Boy, that still seems loud. Come on. Like, not off. Come on, give me... Oh my god, I'm getting used to these new in-ears, and this feels like I can hear everything going on inside my head. Holy shit. Feeling better, much better. Still stopped up, and I'm sure you can still hear in my voice. There's still some ick going on. But we're good. Oh boy, I don't know that I like these in-ears for this. This feels too... I don't know, it feels like there's like pressure inside my... No, I don't like this. Hang on. Oh, I really don't like that. Hang on. Oh. Yeah, I don't want to use in-ears for that shit. Ooh. Oh, that was weird. Hello, hello, hello. All right. Let's see here. And then, yeah, there we go. That's already so much better. Is the microphone sick? I hope not. Oh, and then immediately that's like so much quieter than it was with the in-ears. Ooh, so maybe... That's good for me. Alright, sweet. Hey, what's going on, everyone? Alright. So, today... oh, a couple of questions kind of coming up with shipping and all that stuff. At this point, all standing orders from GameFound and Kickstarter have been shipped. Everybody who ordered their book before we went on pre-sale, like the pre-order stuff over on the Land of the Blind store, you should have your books basically into you. The thing that I'm doing right now is we're going through some corrections. There were about 3 orders that were missing items, which for me, out of like 800 orders going out, to have 3 that have errors, that's fucking phenomenal. So, like, hell yeah. It's less than a 1% error rate, so fuck yeah. I was kind of assuming that first time shipping some stuff out, that this is going to be a lot more chaotic than that, so we're good. Now... what this means is, if you put in an order over on GameFound, and I have not received your shipping stuff yet, and you have not reached out to me yet, I can't get you your stuff unless something happens. So we have a lot of extras that are sitting around right now from GameFound or whatever, that unless I hear something in the next 2 weeks, we're going to start fulfilling some of the orders that people put on pre-order. So please let me know. Please let me know what's going on so we can get you your stuff. Yeah. Now, Kickstarter is complete. I mean, Kickstarter is done, so it shouldn't be affecting anything over there. This is just for GameFound. So if you're on GameFound and you have not finished up any of the shipping stuff, if you have not reached out to me to figure out what we're doing about fulfillment, because I know the customs and everything sucks, please, 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 let me know what's going on, okay? Yeah, now, God, let's get over into this real quick. Yada-da. All right, so what this document is, these are the design notes. It's me kind of explaining why things were done a certain way, like we did them whenever I wrote the game. Let me see here. The camera feels... Hang on. Yeah, there we go. Right, there we go. That's good. This is why things were done a certain way. I also wanted to talk about the third-party license because this has not been officially published yet. And I just... I wanted people to know, like... Whenever they do third-party writing for Vagabond or any Land of the Blind stuff, what does that mean? So, Land of the Blind third-party license, I'll go over this real quick. A lot of this is just basically what they did for Shadowdark, except I've added some of the stuff in here on my own. So, if you adhere to these terms, you may publish third-party material stating compatibility with any Land of the Blind games for free and keep 100% of the profits. By this, for free, what I mean is you do not pay me a license fee or anything like that. I guess I should say without a licensing cost. I don't want you to think that that means that your product has to be for free. Okay. Content. Land of the Blind LLC maintains and maintains the exclusive rights to publish and distribute our games. You can't take Vagabond and go publish it on your website or put it up on Scribd. That is a big no-no. That is piracy. Print verbatim passages of text, no matter the length, from our games. This could get into bootlegging. Use the commissioned art that appears in our games. That's never been allowed for any license that I've been aware of. One sec. Use the commission. This license allows third-party creators to use and reference the general concepts of any of our games' rules and mechanics, for example, favor or hinder. Use and reference the names of our game's ancestries, classes, perks, spells, items, relics, and beings. If there's something else that I need to include in here, please let me know. But I'm pretty sure this covers essentially anything that you wanted to use in the game. Here you go. And the general concept should cover most of the game's rules and mechanics. So I don't really know of too much else in here that would be not covered by this. Disclosure, your product must include the following text in your publication. Product name is an independent product published under the Land of the Blind third-party license and is not affiliated with Land of the Blind LLC, Vagabond, Pulp Fantasy RPG, is copyright 2025, Land of the Blind LLC. This is basically word for word what Kelsey does in Shadowdark. Unpermitted uses. This is something I'm adding in here. Products of Land of the Blind LLC are not permitted for training large language models or other forms of generative artificial intelligence. I consider this to be in violation of this right here and this right here. Those are two things, and I'm like, if you do that, that violates the license, and yes, I will be talking to an attorney. You guess the mana system would fall under the spells. That's also something used in reference to general concepts of our game's rules and mechanics. Use and reference the name of our ancestors. I mean, yes, it would be part of these two. And hey, what up, Travis? Logos and branding. You may use the Runs on Vagabond logo from the creator kit, but this is not required. You may use the term Vagabond Pulp Fantasy RPG in reference to compatibility. You may not use the intellectual property of Land of the Blind LLC. This includes the Mountain's Eye Vagabond Pulp Fantasy RPG logo. Mountain's Eye is this right here. And Land of the Blind logos. These IP are used to distinguish official Land of the Blind LLC products. I put this in here because I think people might be wondering why. Wait, gonna play Vagabond in like an hour? Hell yeah. This is something we use to distinguish. Yes, these are our products, but not enough people explain in their license why they use these things. So I'm explaining straight up why we do that right here. Now going over here. Okay, this is something that I know Kelsey does not include in her license. I saw it in Darrington Press's license, and I saw that this was something that caused a bit of a stir, and I want to explain why I included it in my license. So, release of infringement claims. Land of the Blind does not intend to copy or infringe upon any third-party content. However, similarities may arise by coincidence or development of the same concept. For example, a third-party creator making a Scion class while one is in development for Land of the Blind. Due to this, we require all third-party creators to waive any and all claims, demands, or causes of action against Land of the Blind LLC for infringement or misappropriation of any third-party content in order to use this license. What this basically says right here. Look, I like developing my own shit. However, if I write something and you come along and say, well, I wrote that like 2 years ago, and now I'm coming after you in court, I'm going to straight up say, well, this part of the license right here means, like, you can't. Some people are going to use this as like, well, that means that people can just rip off your content, yada, yada, yada. And it's not the intent. And I would think from like looking around this scene or like seeing it from my content, you know that I like writing my own stuff, not taking somebody else's. This is also a cover my ass situation. Like, I don't want to get brought into court because somebody said that I wrote this thing in a book 4 years ago and therein you're no, that's not the case. Okay? This happens with movies and stuff all the time. Seems pretty commonplace. Makes it, yeah. This is just a preemptive thing of like, look, I'm not going to get involved in legal heat. All right, I'm not. No, I've heard enough horror situations going on with other games that make me know that this is something that I need to include right here. There's legal drama involved with plenty of RPGs that you guys don't really know about, but I will basically say in a situation like this, if somebody were to bring up a lawsuit against me because they wrote a thing and then like we were already developing a thing that was kind of similar, I will say that this has kind of happened in a way that worries me a little bit about this is like, I'll say that like I'm developing a thing and then I'll see some people also try to like rush to kind of do their own take on the thing. And I'm like, why? This is just a thing right here. Look, what we've written to the book is our creation. If there is a case where we want to print something of somebody else's, we will reach out, which has already happened on 2 occasions. We do that for Pablo Dapina for Downward Spiral of the Lost, and we're going to do this with Skirk and Varg with the variant archetype thing. You're also kind of prolific. Oh shit! Thanks, Hisky. Let's see if I want to grow with class roster over time a lot. Yeah. So overlaps with more likely the same D&D classes. Yeah. You intentionally avoided making obvious classes for Vagabond because you know get into making them eventually. Well, like. And this is the other tightrope you kind of have to walk as a designer is like how often or like if I want the third party scene to thrive, I have to know that like maybe there's certain concepts I can't really touch, right? I want people to be able to make their own thing and I want to encourage that. But at the same time, I have to know that like if I publish too much, right? Like people seem to want additional class content and that's cool. Where do I step in and go, I'm going to cover that or someone in the community is going to cover that, right? Like there's this push and pull I've got to kind of think about with that. Limited liability. In no event shall Land of the Blind LLC be liable to third-party creators using this license on any legal theory, including without limitation, negligence, or otherwise for damages of any kind, should Land of the Blind be forced to hire legal representation to defend itself against another party as a result of your third-party product. You agree to defend, indemnify, and hold Land of the Blind LLC harmless from and against any liability claims, actions, demands, and damages, including attorney's fees and costs. Here's the thing. Here's the reason why I did this. If you get some wild hair that you want to write, like the Toei Animation Heroes Handbook or the Disney Heroes Handbook, and, you know, a bunch of lawyers start knocking at my door, that's where I point the finger over at you and go, congratulations, you're now responsible for my legal fees. You're the one that got in trouble with that. If I get looped into it for whatever reason, this license right here is the thing that I say, this is what they're supposed to use. Like, straight up, this is what they're supposed to use. If for some reason you somehow find a way that I still get looped into it, this is me saying, you're paying for my lawyer. Like, straight up. License flexibility. You also agree to adhere to this license and any reform version of this license. Land of the Blind LLC only intends to reform the license if any provision of the license is deemed unenforceable or if a new technology arises that requires reformation of this license. I included this right in here because we never know with a situation like what's gone on with AI, if there could be something crop up that makes me go, shit, I need to add this as a portion in there. I don't want to take away the publishing rights of you keep 100% of the royalties, anything like that. No licensing costs. I don't want to do that. This gets to be tricky water. If I start going, I want any percentage of your... No, that's not what I'm doing here, okay? What I'm doing here is basically saying, if the need arises where like there is a new technology that comes up that I did not know what it was capable of, or I have literally no way of foretelling the future here, I've got to be able to say the license does need some flexibility. For the people that would like go and make a YouTube clip like what we saw happen with the whole Darrington Press license, this is standard. Like, this is totally standard. If a company were to get really grabby and very greedy with this portion of it right here, that's where actual scandal takes place, okay? That would be a show of bad faith, and you should not publish with that person anymore. I'll stick to that right now. Hey, future Taron, here, past Taron could bite you in the ass right here for some reason. Yes, I will not change the license in order to revoke royalties or force a licensing fee. That is not an intent that I ever have for as long as I have control of this game, right? That's straight up. Cancels your story campaign setting. Yeah, there you go. Pathfinder problem where first party has everything you'll need. Yeah. People are rightfully angry at WotC and maybe Darrington for their license stuff, but realistically, this is always gonna massive problem. Yes. So here's the deal. Like the Darrington Press license, I took issue with it because of some of the stuff that they included that was like, you can't make this, or this with it. Or like there are products that we could deem to be hateful and therein we can revoke the license. And I'm like, you guys are not in a position to be arbiters of this. Like, you know, just because you want to be a good person doesn't mean that you're necessarily the person who should be arbitrating this thing. Like, straight up, I won't work with a company if they're going, no, we don't allow our license to be used for any hateful content and we'll take you down if we do. Then I'm like, I have no idea what you deem as hateful. That's so subjective. It is so subjective. I don't want to go out and make some Nazi shit with my game or what the hell ever supplement. But by virtue of you including this in your thing, I don't know what you think is hateful. And I definitely don't trust Twitter to figure out what the fuck is hateful. Some Darrington Press stuff also makes more sense in hindsight now that CR is making a video game. Yeah. And like, you know, I'm like, I guess that's what you're going to do with it. Yeah, that whole thing about like, you can't make this, or this with the system. If they're developing on a video game, I'm like, all right, I fucking guess that's why that's there. Also, they don't have the means to monitor every release for Daggerheart. Yeah. No, what they do is they rely on the community to tell them what they've found, right? What was or was not in bad taste or whatever. It's more so if they get enough community pressure to take down a thing, then they'll probably take down a thing, which is not great. Not great. Yeah. So, governing, this just says, like, hey, if we have to fight this out in court, it's under the jurisdiction of here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Boom. That's it. Knowing the CR audience, they will. God, I have no idea. That's on them. Hang on. There we go. That's on them. That's the... There we go. That's the mountain they built. You know. Okay. Now, how Darrington Press... Or wait, how Darrington... Wait. How Darrington you to press them for answers? They play a critical role in TTRPG space. You are just a one-eyed king in the land of the blind. Oh, shucks. Well, thanks. Bad taste is so subjective. Like, yes, we all agree on major things. Yes, well, this is the other thing, too, where, like, hey, there's comedians I like. I think Norm Macdonald is one of the most hilarious dudes that has ever existed. But there's plenty of people who will go, well, because you like Norm Macdonald, you are very, very racist and hateful. And it's like, go fuck yourself. I don't know what to say at that point. Like, okay, I guess you make this your whole personality to call me out or something. You've been really enjoying Vagabond. Wanted to ask, would it be okay for you to translate the core rulebook? Won't be profiting off of it. Just post the translation online once it's done. No, that is, no. That is in violation of this right here. Boom. And in some way, a violation of this right here. Another thing. I do not work with fans offering to do translations. I cannot rely on that actually getting done. Period. There has to be a contract in place with a reputable company I know has done previous translations in the past, and I have seen their work. No, I do not allow for translations. And as much as people are like, well, it will get your game out to more people, I have to know that the work will be getting done. And I have to be able to control it. I have to be able to control the means of distribution on it. Especially for someone to say, like, hey, can I take your game and translate it and post it up? No. Nope. That is a firm no. Did you get a lawyer feedback for these terms to make sure that nothing is missing for the license? I mean, we can't really... You can't really cover everything that is quote-unquote missing, in a sense, but this is covering everything that I know exists in Shadowdark's license, and then some things that it doesn't. And you know, a few lawyers. Yeah, I do have lawyer friends that I can get a hold of and all that stuff, but as of right now, this is me kind of pushing this to the community, being like, what's the thought here? Is there something else that's in here? Yeah. What happened to the Avoid what happened to the Silksong Chinese translation? What happened there? Wait, what? Yeah, now I'm curious. What happened to the Silksong Chinese translation? See, now I'm on this. Silksong Chinese. Uh-oh. Poor quality, confusing, and stylistically inconsistent with the game's tone. Huh. Oh, so it's just a bad translation. There were some mistakes. I gotcha. Alright. Now, let's go over here to the FAQ before we get up into the design notes and everything. So, the FAQ. I want to know real quick, are there people in chat who were not here the other day, with any questions or anything like that? Why are lawyers getting potentially involved? Lawyers should be involved anytime that you're, like, drafting a license. Yeah. Not about any kind of, like lawsuit or anything like that right now. No. It's just, yeah. So it sounds like, wait. The guy decided to write it in ancient archaic Chinese, so it sounds like Shakespeare. That's funny. Okay. Any stuff about the FAQs? Does anybody have any extra questions that came up? Because I've tried asking the community, I've tried asking over here. Are there any other questions that have come up that I need to cover in the FAQ doc? And I'm always going to keep kind of harping on this because yeah. I feel like there's oftentimes some of the stuff that comes up is like people kind of reading the rules not for what's there but what isn't there, and they're kind of assuming that it just operates like 5e, and like that's been happening a lot where I'm like, no, it's not. Don't assume that rule. Let me see. All right, I'm gonna sip my coffee. Anything came up on Imbue? That is the delivery that has had the most questions. So I'll talk these through real quick. Imbue. The entire intent of this was to make a sword magical, right? It was to make a... wait. Where can you find the FAQ doc? It's in the Discord, but this is one I'm also updating. Imbue's entire intent is like the magic weapon fantasy. Okay, or the magic object fantasy. If you wanted to play like an artificer in Vagabond, Imbue can do a lot of that. Okay, Imbue can feel also like it's a little bit confusing. So what does Imbue do specifically? The object is not a target. Okay, the object is not the target of the spell. The object becomes the delivery by which the spell can be delivered. Okay. So in this case of an imbue, let's say that I imbue a sword with levitate. Does that mean that the sword can fly? Let me hear it from chat. If I imbue a sword with levitate, Is the sword affected by the spell? No, it is not. Whatever the sword hits is affected by the spell. That's the thing. Yes, what you hit with it levitates, right? If you wanted to, let's say, make the sword fly, you would need a delivery like touch that would target the sword. So some of the frustration I've seen that's come up is from people who saw imbue and went, this is how I have to target objects in order to make the spell work, and that's caused confusion. So what this does, imbue. When I imbue a weapon, do I spend the extra mana to deal spell damage when I cast it or when the weapon hits? When the weapon hits. It is like this to prevent perceived sense of loss if you spend mana before and nothing happens because that hero wasn't able to attack with it. This also means, right in here, you're not getting cheaper delivery or cheaper damage because you cast it beforehand and now you're thinking, well, that sword will always deal an extra 2d6 damage. That's not how it's supposed to work out. This, as we have ran it and playtested it, is the most in reason and most balanced way to make this fantasy happen with a magic system. You just realize that imbue can be used on the user of the item since touch is both for close and self. You just realize that imbue... Wait, what? Is that how the transvection perk works? Transvection works by you casting that spell onto an item as the target, right? However, I want to double check something because now you just made me think, did I word something wrong in transvection? Because if that's the second time that this has come up, if it's the perk that needs a correction because it says imbue, then I will completely own... No, it does not say imbue. If you cast Levitate on an item of 2 slots or less, this is not imbuing the item. This is you cast with touch on the item. It hits at the... Yes, yes, there we go. So imbue is not the kind of thing that you are casting to make an item magical in the sense of you want the spell to affect the item. You cast a delivery of touch or remote or whatever to do that. Imbue is you cast that item to be a conduit for the spell later on. Reading the perk explains the perk. Yes, thank you. It's casting with touch with extra steps, but the extra steps are what makes it possible. Like, yeah. And what makes the fantasy cool. Another thing that came up with it. Delivery, imbue. Who spends the mana to fire off an imbued spell after the attack hits? I have gone back and forth on this, and I cannot think of a mathematical reason why it would be bad for the wielder to be able to do it as well. So if people want to do that, I am fine with allowing it, and if we find out that some shit just absolutely breaks in half when that happens, whatever. But I'm looking at it in terms of the action cost for it right now. And the action cost tells me this is probably fine. So either the caster or the wielder of the imbued weapon, whatever is cool, let it work. People should not freak out about the balance of imbue because the opportunity and action economy cost tends to keep this in check. If you're spending 2 actions and you go, it's crazy that that guy did an extra 3d6 damage with that sword. Okay, this you see how this we have a little bit of confusion here as to like there's a lot more value that people feel like they got out of this on the sword attacking one target, right? If this person could have done the same delivery in an area and they could have done, let's say, 3d6, or their choice was to do a sword attack that did, 46 to one target or something. the action cost made that one hit really good, but there's much more of a trade-off happening here. You got a niche question. Can full swing the perk that lets you push an enemy with your sword if you get a high enough attack roll? Does this perk work with the Vanguard's perk, such as a rampant charge? Yes, let it work. Just let it work. Possible dumb question. If my gun gets imbued, you assume it's a bullet that has the effect of the spell? Yes. That the intent is let the fantasy work. Always, always, always let the fantasy work. If there seems like there's a weird question where it's like, I wonder if... Don't rules lawyer yourself out of having fun with the game. Like, that seems to be a thing that, like... Audio is kind of different today? Wait, what? Like, what? Loud? Like, is it Cliff? Now you got me all self-conscious. What's going on? You're reading... Am I reading this wrong? Or are the anima companions kind of weak / die super easily? Are the what? Anima companions. A bit tenny? A bit tinny or a bit echoey? Echo. Echoey? Oh, wait. Oh. Uh-oh. Wait. Why? Oh, shit. It defaulted to a webcam mic. Damn it. Let's see. Oh. Damn it. No, I wasn't aware of that. Mike shouldn't be. No, Mike's not dead. It should be the scene, the Sure, and it's not. The Sure's not getting recognized. Okay. Mic test of the Sure. Yes, it's recognized over there in Discord. Mike's not dead. No, it's fine in Discord. OBS is just not picking it up. What? You also thought I moved because of Let's... No. No, this is still the studio. No, I've just rearranged it a little bit. Just sounds like a can. All right, hang on. I'll be right back. Let me fix this.